So first we take the palak and cut it and remove the stalk, and then we put the palak in some water with some salt. We mix it together and put it on the stove and just leave it there till it boils and turns into dark green in color. So here I have finely chopped onions. I've got finely chopped tomatoes, cumin powder, you can use just cumin instead, and some finely chopped garlic. So first we put the finely chopped onions. We saute the onions well. Don't keep the flame too high because it may cause the onions to burn out. So we just keep modulating the flame till we get a decent temperature, and we saute the onions till they become translucent, which shows that they're completely cooked. So now I add about half a tablespoon of garlic, and about half a tablespoon of cumin powder. So go ahead and put a little bit of turmeric. That should be about half a tablespoon again. Saute this well. The turmeric has to be absorbed in the tomatoes as well. So we go ahead and add the tomatoes. So we make it a 50-50 split between the tomatoes and the onions. So this is going to form the base of our gravy for Palak Paneer.
So how many onions and how many tomatoes?
So I have one medium-sized onion and 3 small-sized tomatoes. So we keep sauteing this till it becomes nice and mushy. And in the meantime, we will also follow the palak that's been boiling. It takes about 15-20 minutes for the palak to boil and become dark green. So once the palak is done boiling, this is how it looks. It looks like dark green in color, but make sure that you don't over boil the palak, then it'll just ruin the taste of the palak paneer completely. Now coming back to our initial base, this is how the onions and the tomatoes look once they are done. So the tomatoes get a little mushy and the onions form the base. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all the contents, both the palak as well as the onions and tomatoes, into a blender, and we're going to blend it to perfection. So basically I just transferred the onion tomato mixture and the palak. I used a sieve to take off all the water, and it's just the palak now. So I'm just going to hit all of this in a blender till the time it becomes fine, and it should be a paste when it comes out of the blender. So this is how the palak looks. Once it's ground to a fine paste, you can see there are no palak pieces or stalk pieces in there. So what you do is we take a pan, an empty pan, and do not turn on the pan when you put the palak inside, because it will cause the palak to splutter. So without turning on the gas, we just transfer the palak paste into the pan, and then we continue our next operation. So as I showed you, this is the palak mixture. I diluted it a little bit because it was extremely coagulated. So now once it's on the stove, turn on the stove, keep it at about half or maybe even less than that. We don't want it to burn out. So the first thing we put on this is we use half a tablespoon of red chili powder. Now you can choose to use green chilies instead. If you're using green chilies instead, you'll have to blend it with the palak and the onion and tomato mixture. So once this is done, I add roughly about 1 tablespoon of Kitchen King Masala, which is the MDH Kitchen King Masala. It's about 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of Kitchen King, depending on how you like the taste. If you like it to be strong or if you like it to be mild. This is the closest that it can get to the palak paneers that you get in the hotels, right? So once we mix this well, so another ingredient that I use, which is not necessary, is basically the Maggi vegetarian magic cubes, and these are purely vegetarian and they can be added. So this is how the cubes look. So I made a powder of the cubes before I've opened it, and so I'm going to go ahead and put that. This is purely optional. If you don't want to put it, it does not. It just gives a stronger taste because we like the taste to be stronger on the gravy of Palak Paneer. So, and the final ingredient on this mixture would be salt. So salt is as per taste. So you keep tasting the gravy while you're making it and keep adding more, or just stop with the salt that you have added. Now simultaneously, when this is happening at low, you can see that I have a pan here. I initially had it at 8, but I reduced it to 4 because it got a little too hot while we were shooting this video. And so I have cut frozen paneer, which is what you get here in the US, but you can also use the paneer that you can buy from any other store that is not frozen and that is fresh. So what I do is I basically transfer the paneer over to the tawa, and because it's frozen and it's got water in it, it just reacts this way, but it's fine. So I reduce the flame as low as I can, and I keep turning the paneer till they become golden brown on each side, and the palak mixture is simultaneously heating up on the other stove.
So instead of oil, I think we can also use butter.
Yes, butter is another alternative for the paneer, but I mean it purely depends on what people like. If people want to be health conscious, they can use a little bit of oil instead of the butter. But butter does add taste to it, and if people prefer, they can use butter instead of oil as well.
So what's the prep time like, totally from start to stop, the entire palak paneer?
So if you have all your ingredients already cut and ready for you to make, and you don't have to hunt for any of the ingredients, then I would give it about 40 minutes from the time we begin. So 40 minutes, half an hour to 40 minutes, depending on how competent the person is, I would put it. So now the palak has coagulated just a little bit more. So now this is the time for us to add the paneer. Roughly the cook time for the palak with all the masalas and everything is about 10 to 15 minutes, but at medium to low flame. So now, as you can see, the paneer has become golden brown. I just sauteed it just a little bit, and the key here is the paneer has to be transferred directly from here, and do not store the paneer for any longer. So now we transfer the paneer onto the palak. The reason I say we transfer the paneer onto the palak is because if you keep paneer outside, then it tends to become chewy like rubber. Some people do put it in warm water and keep it outside. It is a possibility, but with frozen paneer, it's always better if you transfer it directly. It maintains the freshness. And the last step of palak paneer, which adds the taste to it, is I use whipping cream or just any kind of cream that you can find. And so we just put a little bit of whipping cream in the palak mixture. So you can see once the cream's added, it gets the light green texture that you see in all the hotels that you go to, right? And trust me, it tastes much better than the hotels. And it's an easy recipe. It's easy to follow. It's easy to make. Anybody can make it, and especially for students, maybe in the US, they could probably follow this recipe and make it within 40 minutes too. So once this is done, we just leave it on the stove at low flame for about 3 to 4 minutes, and there you go, palak paneer is ready.